Hey, welcome to N4VBH's Radio Shack. I thought I'd give you guys a tour, so come on, let's look at some of the things over on the bench. Let's start with some of the HF equipment that I have. This is an ICOM 746 Pro. This is the IC 746 Pro. HF 6 meters and 2 meters. And this was my main rig for many years. And I have the accompanying power supply here. You can see that there on the right. Very nice radio. Not a minute's problem with that. Probably had it 13, 14 years. The backup rig is a Kenwood TS940S. That's here. And I have the accompanying speaker, the external speaker for that. Sitting on top of the external speaker is an older Kenwood 7400A. This is the TR7400. That was originally a 2-meter mobile. I'm using it as a base. I picked this up at the Raleigh Hamfest a few years ago, and I'm using it as an APRS transceiver for a Raspberry Pi running APRS here at the shack. Really good radio. I got that at a deal. The only thing that it had was a burned out light bulb for the meter, and I replaced that with an LED, and working great. Next to that, you can see I have basically an interface or a switch box where I can switch my audio setup that you'll see in a moment. I can switch it between 3 different HF radios. So that switches between the ICOM 746 Pro, and it switches also to my backup, so I can pull that up in a hurry. Use the same microphone, same audio, same speaker setup. And then it also switches to currently my main radio, which is a Flex 6300, and that sits underneath the ICOM there. The Flex is an SDR, so it's running the Smart SDR software. This is version 3, and you can see that there, and it is currently on. Turn the volume up. I don't know if you can hear that. But, we're listening to some activity on 40 meters, and you can see there's some other strong activity going on that band as well. I have a volume control. It's located here, so that's like a master volume control that goes to my speaker. I'm using a sound bar as my speaker. This is a Vizio sound bar, and that is coming from my main audio mixer, and I'll show you that. So basically I have the radio routed from the Flex HF radio, also the audio from the 2 computers that I have. They are routed to the audio mixer as well. So I'm using a X12 by Behringer, and this is kind of a audio hub for the shack, and that is located underneath here. So we'll go underneath. Got a lot of books stacked up under here, and there it is. So that is the audio hub. So that is where basically the speaker out to both of my computers goes into channels. You can see that here. So and you can see some activity there from the Flex. So the audio coming out of the Flex comes into a couple channels. The audio from the Dell computer comes into separate channels. The audio from my older computer here, that's an XP machine, that comes into separate channels. And then I have an auxiliary. That can be anything that I want to route into that. Also, I have the microphone that's on the bench. Here I'm running a Shure SM7B. You can see that right there. It's mounted on a boom. So the SM7B is my main transceiver mic or talking mic. That goes into the X-Air. And then you can see the volume of that is all the way down, so I don't want the microphone coming out of the speaker. But what I have is auxiliaries that are set that takes the audio from the microphone and routes it to an aux out, and that aux out goes to the switch box over here, where that audio can be routed to any one of the 3 HF transceivers. Now the audio from the 746 Pro and the Kenwood, they both come to the external speaker here, the Kenwood external speaker, because I have an A and B switch on it. So they don't route into the mixer. Of course they could if I wanted them to. I have plenty of extra channels here where I could simply do that, and then all audio would come out of the soundbar. But as of right now, they don't. Okay, so let's see, in the antenna world, over here I have an antenna tuner. This is a 1500 watt antenna tuner, works really well. It's fully manual. It's not one of the nicer new digital tuners. And then beside that, I have, this is a Kenwood power supply that's currently not being used. It's just a backup. That's a switch mode power supply. And the amplifier is an older Ameritron AL84. This is spec'd at 400 to 500 watts, I think. It's doing a good 4, just a little over 4. And I use that on 40 meters. It normally stays tuned to 40 meters when I need just a little extra kick, but a lot of times it stays off. Like right now, it's not currently even on. Have a scanner. Scanner here is hooked to the same antenna as the Kenwood 7400, and I have them on a switch for switching back and forth. Let's see, some other older stuff that I have here. There's an older PK232, a Pack Rat 232 as it was called, for doing packet radio and other things. Doesn't see a whole lot of use anymore. That one does have the full upgrades. It has the, forgot what all the upgrades were. There was like an expansion daughter board, and it does have the new EEPROMs for the latest software. So just a few years ago, it was actually updated, 5 or 6, 7 years ago, something like that. So it got the full update, even though that unit has got some age on it. VHF, UHF, I have the Anytone D578 UV. So that's located here for DMR and standard FM on VHF and UHF with the external speaker. So this is totally separate. It's on its own antenna as well. Antenna switch box, or antenna switches, excuse me. I have 2 of those. One is for I have a tri-band antenna for VHF, UHF. And that antenna can go to one of 2 radios. It can go to the 746 Pro, or it can go to the DMR radio, so I can switch back and forth. Also, I have the larger coax switch is for switching the HF antenna that I have to one of 4 different places. I have several portables, and let's see, an older D104 microphone, and some gadgets, some watt meters. What is not shown, I have a couple of Bird watt meters. I have a 4410. I also have the standard Bird 43. So all that is in my test equipment area. This little guy is a D-Star portable. I have that for D-Star. And that, as well as the mobile, can interface to my hotspot that I have. Here's a 380, an MD380 portable as well, with an extra battery sitting there in the charger. 2 keyboards. I told you that I had 2 computers. An older XP PC, and then my newer Windows 10 PC. This is a DIY homemade PTT button. I don't like foot pedals, and I don't like Vox, so I'm using a push to talk button here. It works really well, and that is interfaced into the switch box that's located over here. So that one PTT button can work any 3 of the radios, whichever selected. Also, my Shure SM57B, SM7B, that microphone can interface into any 3 of the HF radios depending on what is switched over here on the switch box. So, well, there you have it. A look at the shack here at N4VBH. I think we've covered just about everything.